Hi everyone, Lisa Haven here, and I've got a major report to share with you guys. Well, members of Congress are now coming forward with a bill that modifies Section 203 of the Communication and Decency Act, thereby putting a nail in both Facebook and Twitter and all of social media, for that matter's, coffin. And I can't wait to share with you all of the details because I have been literally waiting for this. This is one move in the right direction because Facebook and Twitter have been both using this act to say we are censoring conservatives, and specifically conservatives, Christians, patriots, and Trump supporters. But before I get into that, I want to give a quick shout out to Restricted Republic. You guys have to make sure you get on there and check out the content. This is the platform that I started with Justice Knight and myself. So you've got multiple truthers on there, but you can see some of the content. So check it out at restrictedrepublic.com. And right now we have that 14-day free trial. All right. So let's start with some of the Facebook censorship that we've been experiencing. Here we are on LifeSite News. This is very recent article, September 11th. Facebook gives a pass to violent leftist organizations while banning groups they victimize. A man wearing a Patriot Prayer hat was murdered in Portland by a criminal who said he was 100% Antifa. And instead of banning Antifa's page, Facebook banned Patriot Prayer. And I'm not even joking on this. They literally go after anyone and everyone who is more Republican and conservative in nature. And that is just evidence of that. Here's another one, newswars.com. I reported on this on YouTube and on Restricted Republic. Facebook censors CDC data showing low COVID-19 death rate. Big tech now censoring an entire branch of the United States government. And that is no joke either. If you share this little quote by the CDC, that basically said, and I'm summarizing here, I'm not quoting exactly, but it said 6% of all the deaths, 200 whatever deaths in the United States, only 6% were directly due to COVID-19. The other 94% of people who died had COVID-19 and other comorbidities, meaning they had heart attack or they had a stroke or they could have been, with diabetes and obesity, but they had 2 to 3 comorbidities on top of having coronavirus. And if you say that, then they were literally censoring you on Facebook. I personally got censored for saying that. This is the kind of censorship that we're talking about. And they said it's harmful content. Give me a break. But here's another one here, Forbes.com, Facebook deleting coronavirus post, leading to charges of censorship. Now, this is, I believe, posted back in March, but still very relevant. Here's another one, April 17th, so a little before, but it gives you an idea of what's going on. Facebook fact checkers are the real fake news after censoring a New York Post story. They literally censored a New York Post story on China's origins of COVID-19 because it didn't fit their narrative. Here's another one here, CBNnews.com. They're just pointing out the obvious. Facebook launches new censorship plan and employees reveal anti-conservative, anti-Trump agenda. Now, this was all revealed by Project Veritas, James O'Keefe, who came out and had Facebook people on record saying, yeah, we limit post by Facebook Trump supporters. We don't let them say certain things. We don't fill in the blank. And that's what CBN is talking about here. Here we have Fox News, a little bit earlier report in January, but still very relevant today. Facebook doesn't really believe in free speech. What they believe in and actively practice is censorship. And he's 100% right in this article. That's all they've been practicing, but it's not just Facebook. Twitter's also doing this. Breitbart.com, Twitter censors President Trump again. He's been censored, 4 to 5 times now over warning to lawless agitators. They're literally censoring the president of the United States. This has gone above and beyond. Here's a recent thing that happened. Twitter locks out lawyer of alleged Kenosha shooter Kyle Rittenhouse for violating the rules. And this is on RT News saying, the account's been locked, and here's you violated our rules. I think it was encouraging some kind of violence. But the good note is the lawyer went after Twitter, and I just have to share this. Kenosha gunman, this is on dailymail.co.uk, but Kenosha gunman Kyle Rittenhouse, lawyer, plans to sue Twitter and threatens to take CEO Jack Dorsey's beep down after his account was blocked for glorifying violence. Please do so. I would help fund that. The lawyer going after big tech organizations. But the bottom line is, I think most of you are already well aware because you get censored personally. If you're one of my audience, I'm sure you've been censored already, either sharing articles or posts. But that's not all. It's both of them and many other social mediaites working together to censor conservatives. Here's the Gateway pundit: big tech collusion. Facebook, Twitter, and Google announced measures to censor pro-Trump information before election. And this was published September 11th. And I talked about this on Restricted Republic, but they're already announcing measures to say you can't talk on certain things about President Trump after the election, right? Of course, to their favor and benefit. And you can't, if Biden contests the election, they're going to obviously share that, but not if President Trump does. And they've made that very clear with their censorship tactics, right? Here's Breitbart: Facebook censorship lawsuit heads to appeal court. Now, I wanted to show you this article back in May because of this part right here. And it says in the article, Facebook argued in this particular lawsuit in a court that Section 230 of the Communication Decency Act allows them wide purview to censor its users when it sees fit. This is the literal argument that Facebook is giving in their lawsuit. So what does Congress do? They go after Section 203 to make changes. So Facebook and Twitter and all these censorship giants, right? Big tech censorship, can't use that any longer. And I am so happy. But here's some of the ones that put it forward. Senator Marsha Blackburn put it forward. She said big tech companies have stretched their liability shield past its limits, and the national discourse now suffers because of it. But it wasn't just her. That was also introduced by Lindsey Graham as well as Senator Wicker. And I'll show you Senator Wicker's tweet here. For far too long, social media platforms had hidden behind Section 230 protections to censor content that deviates from their belief. These practices should not receive special protections in our society where freedom of speech is at the core of our nation's value. And I say a big fat amen to that. But let's go on to the actual press release about it, so you can see it straight from the horse's mouth, right? U.S. Senate Committee on Commerce, Science, and Transportation. This is commerce.senate.gov. And here's the press release, in regards to Section 203. Whitaker, Graham, and Blackburn introduced a bill to modify Section 230 and empower consumers online. Now, this is already getting attacked by many Democrats who are actually reversing it, saying that this is going to cause more censorship. No, actually, I don't believe that that's the case. I believe if we modify it, and I like some of the modification that they're doing, but we need to modify Section 203 to make it more workable, because right now, as you saw, Facebook is using that in lawsuits to make a claim against censoring conservatives, Republicans, and patriots, and Christians, and gun owners, and Trump supporters, right? We can't allow that when they're obviously obviously using it against us. So contact your Congress, men and women, all your senators, and let them know that we need to get this thing put through. But you can see all the senators here that put it forward, and they're introducing this Online Freedom and Viewpoint Diversity Act to modify Section 230 of the Communication Decency Act. They go on and share some of the quotes of why they're doing it. You guys can read that on your own time, but I want to focus on the Online Freedom and Viewpoint Diversity Act. What exactly will it do, right? Well, the first point here, it will clarify when Section 230's liabilities protections apply to instances where online platforms choose to restrict access to certain types of content. So, okay, so it can, they're going to clarify more on the Liabilities Protection Act. But now I want to see some of these clarifications, but when they're finally done, but it's going to clarify more into it. Condition the content moderation liability shield on an objective, reasonable standard. In order to be protected from liability, a tech company may only restrict access to content on its platform where it has an objectionable, reasonable belief that content falls within certain specified categories. And then it goes on to say, right, they're going to remove otherwise objectionable and replace it with the words promoting terrorism, right, or content that is against the law, unlawful, or promotes self-harm. So they're basically saying otherwise objectionable, which Facebook and Twitter and Google have used that to include any and everything they want. And so they're going to remove that and say, let's make it more direct if it's against terrorism or unlawful or promotes self-harm. Now, the problem is that I'm finding right now is Facebook and Twitter and Google and all of them are saying, if you speak against vaccines, right, it doesn't matter if you have science on both sides of the fence, because there absolutely is, right? Science on both sides. They're saying that that's self-harm. And that's not self-harm. That has to do with science. But they're also doing that with the mask debate, right? There is content on both sides of the fence for mask, pro-mask and anti-mask, and science really reveals both sides. But if you're anti-mask and you say anything or show any science in regard to that, they immediately say that you're self-harming. This is a huge problem that I'm running into even on YouTube, is they're designating things that have science to back it as self-harm. Same with the whole hydrochloroquine debate. Doesn't matter what the science is. Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube all took one side of the story and called it harmful content. So this is the kind of stuff that I hope they further clarify and dig into, because that's where we're really getting hit. And not only that, but obviously they've downgraded our content, blacklisted our content, and we're being blacklisted on multiple platforms. To give you an example, on Facebook, I personally have 28,000 people who follow me, right? 28,000, that's a lot. My posts only go out to less than 500 people. All 27,500 don't even see my post go up their feed anymore. That's how bad this stuff has gotten. But the final one, they clarify the definition of information content provider, including instances in which a person or entity editorializes or affirms and substantially modifies the content created or developed by another person or entity, but does not include mere changes to format, layout, basic appearance, and so on and so forth. So this is an amazing move in the right direction. Meanwhile, you guys got to get on Parler. By the way, Parler.com. I'm on Parler, and I'm definitely active on there, and I want to encourage you guys, join Parler. Follow me on Parler, because we have to start doing that kind of stuff. Also, I want to just let you guys know about a rally I'm going to be at here in Arizona. I'm just going to be attending it with a bunch of other Republicans, but it's Great State Alliance Red Rally. It's October 10th, 2020 at 11 o'clock. They're at the Capitol in Phoenix, Arizona. So I want to encourage you guys, join me out there, get out there, save the date. So it's nearly a month away from today, or a little under that, but check it out. I also have information on that on Parler as well. But with that, please don't forget to check out my partner at healthwithlisa.com. As you guys know, I've been taking this BioTrust product and I mix it in my coffee every morning. It mixes fairly easy, and it tastes really good. You can barely taste it in your coffee. I still put creamer in there, but this is an amazing collagen, and I want to encourage you guys to check it out. It's really done wonders for my skin, and I believe we should all have some level of collagen to kind of help with some of the youthfulness of our bodies. Anyhow, make sure you check that out at healthwithlisa.com. Well, thanks again for tuning in and listening to me here on YouTube. I'd love to get your thoughts, comments, and concerns. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I'm Lisa Haven, signing out.